This is it, Dan Dans, part 5 in the history of SmackDown series, and what an excellent way to go out. With WWE SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain, a game that many people consider to be one of, if not the greatest wrestling game of all time. We're going to jump right in with what's brand new. There are 2 brand new match types in Here Comes the Pain, and they couldn't possibly be any more different. First up, the most diabolical structure in the history of sports entertainment. 2 miles of chain, 10 tons of steel, specifically designed to punish the human body.
The Elimination Chamber.
I cannot even begin to tell you how many times I played this mode when the game was first released. Everything you want to do in the chamber is doable, and the developers did not skimp. Want to climb on the inner walls? Go for it. Jump off the top of one of the pods? Make it happen. Smash your opponent through the pod's plexiglass walls? Oh, hell yeah. Wrestlers take extra damage when they're whipped into the chains, and falls count anywhere, so leaving the ring is a major gamble. One complaint I had with this mode was that slamming your opponent on the steel floor outside of the ring doesn't sound painful. It barely sounds like anything. In real life, that was a huge spot, and it looked awfully damaging. So a small sound effect here to put over how badly it hurts would have been nice. But other than that, the chamber is awesome. The other brand new match type comes in the form of the WCW Nitro video game on a pole match, where the only way to win, I'm kidding, it's bra and panties. Take your pick of Tori, Stacy, Lita, Trish, and any of the other divas and fight until somebody is half naked. I don't even want to know anyone's personal stories about playing this mode when you were a kid. Keep it to yourself. Shirts and pants are removed in a minigame that is identical to the new submission system. It's a fun idea, and I'm sure this mode was one of the main reasons many people bought this game. What a world we live in. As I just mentioned, Here Comes the Pain changes the way submission moves are handled for the first time in the whole series. Locking in the walls of Jericho is no longer a, I wonder if he'll tap this time, sort of gamble. Now we've got a button-mashing minigame prepared to give you blisters. This was a desperately needed update to the series, and it's a shame it took 5 games for the devs to realize that the submission system was sorely lacking. It's a welcome change. In part 4 of the series, we touched on the gameplay being slightly overhauled. And Here Comes the Pain, you take that overhaul dial and you crank it from slightly to completely. Gone are the days of your grapple moves being mapped from circle and a directional button. In its place is a system that feels very familiar to the Nintendo 64's all-time classic, WWF No Mercy. Circle and a directional button now locks you into a grapple, and each grapple contains 4 different moves. Up in circle launches you into a power grapple. Right in circle is your quick grapple. Down in circle is your submission grapple, and left in circle is your signature grapple. Let me break it down more simply. Each character now has 4 times as many moves as they used to. The variety goes deep and allows for your matches to look as dynamic as you can imagine. If you're looking to get the win as soon as possible, you use your power grapple to initiate power bombs and pile drivers and anything you think might get the job done. But if you're rolling an Angle versus Benoit match, you'll mix it up. Use your submission grapple to throw in a headlock and a signature grapple to execute a suplex, whatever. It's up to you to make the match look however you want it to look, and the freedom is very welcome. Here Comes the Pain also introduces Legends to the series, a feature prominently used in nearly every WWE game going forward. Legends are here in the shape of playable retired wrestlers like Rowdy Roddy Piper, Hillbilly Jim, Old School Undertaker, Sergeant Slaughter, Hawk and Animal, Jimmy Snuka, George the Animal Steele, and more. At the time, I thought this was weird, to include wrestlers who, in some cases, hadn't competed in decades. I was 13 years old wondering who the hell would want to book John Cena versus Roddy Piper. Looking back on it, I was an idiot. Including Legends obviously reaches to an audience that was much older than me at the time, and allows for players to act out fantasy matches that would never be possible in real life. It was obviously a huge hit, as years later WWE would release games where the entire idea was retro versus modern, and hell, one game was entirely retro. Weight classes are another feature debuting here that would prove to be very important to the series going forward. Put on an old SmackDown game. Pick Crash Holly. If you want to suplex The Undertaker, you can. It's no big deal. It's unrealistic, it looks stupid, and nobody likes it. Here Comes the Pain remedies the absurdity with its brand new weight class system. Pick Rey Mysterio and try to scoop slam the Big Show. It's not gonna happen. He'll try and try, but Rey will never get him up. Show is too damn heavy. This might be annoying at first, as you'll feel like you're at a major disadvantage if you're the smaller guy, but it forces you to be smart and create a game plan for every match you play. If you're playing Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar, you can smash and bash all you want. But when you're Ultimo Dragon going up against Kane, there's a whole new challenge in front of you. How do I attack him if I can't pick him up? How can I get him down long enough to land a flying attack? On top of adding another layer of strategy, let's be honest, it just looks better. It's an added bit of realism that my friends and I always appreciated each and every time we played. As per usual with a game in the SmackDown series, we've got a robust season mode ready to be explored. We're allowed to not only set the roster for each show, but we can even decide who's a heel and who's a babyface. Placing the superstars of your choice on either side can determine who you'll be feuding with as the mode progresses, so choosing wisely here is recommended. The free-roaming backstage areas of Shut Your Mouth are gone, and in its place, we've got a hub menu called the Locker Room. From this menu, we can check to see if any superstars are hanging around backstage areas, much like Shut Your Mouth. The difference is that we don't have to wander around to find them anymore. We can talk to our GM to ask for title shots or to be transferred to the other show. We can check the list of champions and contenders, visit Shop Zone where we can buy unlockable content, and more. The purchase of unlockable content is done by spending your in-game cash, as winning matches in season mode earns you a set dollar amount every time. There are bonuses for main events and being a champion, so being successful in season mode has its perks. There's a menu after each match that shows you your progression in every area, which spans from your wallet, to your experience points, to your superstar points, which are required to get shots at certain titles. Season mode this time around has a very introspective angle to it, as our superstar of choice opens the game in black and white, in an empty arena, pondering to himself why he does what he does. Is it for the fans? The fame? The money? Or is it the love of the game? It's a really cool new look at things, and I played through this entire mode several times when I was younger. It's fantastic. One of the biggest disappointments with the game, for me at least, was that when I finally got the game in my hands, I kind of felt like I had been lied to. And that's because my favorite wrestler to watch at that age was Jeff Hardy. And in the Here Comes the Pain reveal trailer, we see him swantoning off the top of a ladder, only to be caught and F5'd by Brock Lesnar. This sequence looked astounding, as did Jeff's character model. His new look with the short hair and glowing body paint was absolutely spot on. Jeff Hardy was released from the company before the game came out, but he was in the trailer, so I thought we were cool. He made the cut. I remember talking to my buddy Bathroom Money Tim Ewers at Recess on launch day, and he said, "Dude, the new F5 looks awesome. He picks you up for a scoop slam and then throws you on his shoulders." I asked, "Does Jeff Hardy's paint glow?" He said,
"Jeff Hardy isn't in the game."
I was heartbroken. I knew there was a very real possibility he'd be taken out due to his departure from WWE, but I thought his appearance in the trailer meant he was safe, and I was wrong. It turns out that Jeff Hardy was not the only victim of the Here Comes the Pain content cutting. Originally, several different versions of Hulk Hogan were to be featured in the game, including his Mr. America persona from 2003. The old school Hogan even had an overall rating of 95, making him the best wrestler in the game. According to many sources, I'm personally quoting the cutting room floor, at least 12 superstars in total were cut from the game. These names include the aforementioned Jeff Hardy and Hulk Hogan, as well as Billy Kidman, Al Snow, Billy Gunn, Bradshaw, Jamal and Rosie, Molly Holly, Spike Dudley, William Regal, and even the Ultimate Warrior. Hogan and Warrior were cut very late into development, which is why they're the only superstars with complete bios and overall ratings. There's even some extremely rare footage of Warrior in Here Comes the Pain, captured so early that the game was still running on the Shut Your Mouth engine. It's a time capsule I'd like to recommend several of you download and save somewhere, so that this footage is never lost to the ages the way these characters were. Throughout the series, you guys have left comments on Facebook and YouTube and Reddit telling me I should cover the creator-wrestler portions of the game. And I always intended to. I was just saving it specifically for this finale. In the original SmackDown game, creator-wrestler was limited mostly to choosing existing heads, torsos, and lower bodies and combining the three into a look of your choice. In SmackDown 2, the options widened, allowing us to pick and choose whichever articles of clothing we wanted. Small advancements were the name of the game in Just Bring It and Shut Your Mouth, and now here we are with Here Comes the Pain. Compared to today's games like WWE 2K18, where facial scans have created wrestlers looking like actual in-game renders, this looks terrible. It really does. But that's what time does. That's how technology evolves. If you had Here Comes the Pain at launch like I did, you remember damn well how we got outsiders like Sting into the game. We had to print out CAW formulas and painstakingly move each individual slider to the desired number to make it just right. The current games have community creations where one person can make the best version of a wrestler. The best appearance, the best entrance, the best moveset, the best everything that goes along with it, the full package. They make it, they put it online, and we can all have it at the click of one button. Not the case back in 2003. We worked one by one, creating each character we wanted, taking hours at a time, assigning each and every punch, kick, and finisher of their moveset. It was a product of the times, it was a pain in the ass, and I think we're all happy that time has left this extremely complicated system behind. One of my least favorite aspects of any SmackDown game was the insanely stupid looking high spot bump animation from Shut Your Mouth. I'm happy to report that it is mostly missing from Here Comes the Pain, save for a few spots involving a helicopter.
What?
Yeah, you can jump off a fucking helicopter in the middle of Times Square. What the fuck was I just talking about? Oh yeah, the little bits and bobs I've noticed about the game throughout the years. Strangely enough, after Shut Your Mouth fixed the terrible commentary from Just Bring It, Here Comes the Pain decides to get rid of the commentary entirely. There aren't even voiceovers of ring announcers when the superstars make their entrances. It's just crowd noise and theme music. In place of the commentary is a hard-rocking industrial soundtrack that unfortunately gets old pretty fast. They all kind of blend together, but I'm pretty sure there are only 3 or 4 songs in the whole game. It's an odd choice I still don't quite understand to this day. On the plus side, the roster features several first-timers like Ultimo Dragon, Goldberg, Scott Steiner, John Cena, Batista, and Rey Mysterio, just to name a few, making it easily the best game roster to date. Call me sadistic, call me brutal, call me whatever you like, but one thing I was always disappointed with in the SmackDown games was the distinct lack of blood. You could never bust anybody open in the games. We want blood, we want the proverbial crimson mask, as JR would call it. Every big match had blood in it. Austin, The Rock, Triple H, Undertaker, they'd all bleed when the time was right because it gave the match that extra bit of drama. It made it feel like it wasn't just a wrestling match, but a fight. A fight where the superstars in the ring were putting absolutely everything on the line in order to walk out with the victory. And now, finally, in the 5th game of the series, we've got blood. After you've damaged your opponent's head enough to turn it red on the health indicator, which is another new feature, one more well-placed shot to the dome will split their forehead open like a cantaloupe. And we're not talking about just a little trickle, no way. The blood covers their face immediately, and each subsequent shot to the head will spurt out blood like a fucking Mortal Kombat fatality. It never gets old, and I'm saying that almost 15 years after launch. I love this. Some call SmackDown Here Comes the Pain the greatest wrestling game of all time, and with a deep season mode, exciting match types, extensive roster, compelling gameplay, and excellent creative features, that's hard to argue. It's crazy to think how far these games came as a series in just 4 years, but the proof is in this documentary series. I feel very fortunate to have been born in 1990, as I was able to grow up in what I considered the best time to be a gamer. I went from pro wrestling on the NES, to WWF Royal Rumble on the Genesis, to the SmackDown series on the PlayStation consoles. My brother used to sit next to me just feet from the screen under the glow of the old glass TV, and we'd hit each other in real life when one of us would land a big move on the other. Fast forward to 2003, and I'm on the playground at recess talking about the matches I'd had, the cutscenes my friends had seen in season mode, who our imaginary champions were. And from then on, things were different. My friends stopped watching wrestling. I didn't have many people to talk to about one of my favorite hobbies anymore, unless I was on the internet, and that just wasn't the same. The days of jumping up and down with my friends and playing wrestling games were over. And that's one of the main reasons this series ends here. From this point on, the SmackDown games changed their title to SmackDown vs. Raw, before eventually becoming the WWE 2K series. My love for these games disintegrated with SmackDown vs. Raw 2008, which I personally thought was terrible, much like the real-life product at the time. After having been a huge fan for more than half of my life, I had completely fallen out of love with wrestling. The first 5 SmackDown games give me a feeling that few things in life can. When I watch Willy Wonka and Gene Wilder sings Pure Imagination, I'm in my living room, it's 1995, and my dad is showing me one of his favorite movies of all time. When I hear Smooth by Carlos Santana, I'm 11 years old, I'm in the store, and I'm buying myself the first CD that I ever bought. And when I play Here Comes the Pain, I'm 13, I'm on the junior high playground, and I'm telling and listening to as many stories as I can before my friends and I get rushed back to class. I don't love the SmackDown games just because they're great games. I love the SmackDown games because they bring me back great memories. This whole series here was not just the history of SmackDown. This was my history with SmackDown. And I really appreciate you watching. I love you, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you guys again with whatever documentary series I do next. This has been fun, and I'll see you next time.